Hello everyone, I am so happy to see you again. I have a couple of friends coming round for dinner tomorrow night, and since we are so close to St. Patrick's Day, I thought it might be fun to serve a St. Patrick's Day themed dinner. So I'm going to do a corned beef brisket, which I may cook in the Instant Pot. I'm not sure quite yet. We will do colcannon. It's a mashed potato dish with cabbage and kale and green onion. And for dessert, I found a recipe in the New York Times for a chocolate Guinness cake. We're going to start with the cake because it needs to bake and cool before we can frost it. And I am preheating my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I have a 9-inch springform pan here, which I'm going to grease. And I have a cutout round of parchment to put in the bottom. And then, just checking the recipe, in a large saucepan, combine Guinness and butter. How large a saucepan? I don't know. I hope this is large enough. I need 1 cup of Guinness stout. I've never made this cake before, and it sounds, well, it definitely sounds tempting. 1 cup Guinness in, and then I need 10 tablespoons, which is 1 stick plus 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Now, my butter does not come in sticks, so I weighed that out. It's 142 grams. And I'm going to heat this mixture on the stovetop just until the butter melts. All right, my butter has melted, and apparently we make this batter right in this saucepan. So to the Guinness, we need to add 3/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder and 2 cups of sugar. And I need to whisk until this is perfectly smooth. Actually, we do not make the batter entirely in the saucepan. I need a small bowl, 3/4 cup of sour cream, 2 large eggs, and 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. It says mix well. I'll use my other whisk here. I've never made a cake like this. We add this to the Guinness mixture. And then we add 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 2½ teaspoons of baking soda. 1, 2½ So that was baking soda, not baking powder. We're going to whisk until smooth. Now, this particular St. Patrick's themed dinner is one that you can make ahead of time. For instance, I'm making the cake today. Tomorrow I will frost the cake. And also early tomorrow, I will cook off the corned beef brisket, and I will make the colcannon. Probably I will do the colcannon last. We shall see. And I'm giving you measurements here because I think you have to be a subscriber to the New York Times in order to see the printable recipe. Now, we're going to pour this into the cake pan. Kevin, you are being very sloppy today. Oh, this does look very tempting. It smells wonderful. I did not know that Guinness and chocolate went together. And for how long do we bake this? Bake until risen and firm, 45 minutes to 1 hour. And into the oven it goes. And while we wait for the cake to bake, I'm going to get cleaned up here. Oh my, this cake smells just glorious. In fact, my whole kitchen smells fantastic. The cake did sink a little in the middle, but I don't care about that. And I did test it with a skewer. It is definitely done. Now, we have to let this cake cool completely in the pan before we can frost it, and we will tackle that job tomorrow when we also do the corned beef brisket and the colcannon. Sweet dreams, my friends, and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. I hope you slept well. Today, we are going to frost this gorgeous chocolate Guinness cake. But first, I need a cake stand. Now, one menu item that I forgot to mention yesterday is brown Irish soda bread, which we are also going to make today, in addition to the corned beef and the colcannon. Ooh, this cake looks wonderful. I can tell you right now that this cake turned out beautifully. It was moist and dense and super chocolatey. To make the frosting, I beat 1 1/4 cups of confectioner's sugar and 8 ounces of softened cream cheese in my standing mixer. Then I added a 1/2 cup of heavy cream and beat until the mixture became smooth and spreadable. I'm only frosting the top of the cake. This way, the cake will resemble a glass of Guinness with a foamy white head. And there it is. Our cake is all done and frosted, and I would love to cut into it right now, but I need to wait until my guests arrive. I'm going to get cleaned up here, and then we can get started on the brown Irish soda bread. Unfortunately, I don't need any special equipment for it. On to the Irish soda bread. Now, I have my own recipe for Irish soda bread on my website, but today I wanted to try someone else's recipe. And this comes from Gemma's Bigger Baker Boulding, and I will link her recipe in the description box below. So she has her recipe written out in both cups and in grams, and I'm going to use my scale so I can measure out the flour. This is a brown bread, so I need both white and brown flour. In other words, all-purpose flour and whole wheat flour. Zero out my scale. This is my new favorite Irish soda bread. It received rave reviews from my guests. Following the recipe, to a large bowl, I'm adding the 2 flours plus salt and baking soda. In a separate container, I'm whisking together buttermilk and 1 egg. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and just give this a good mix with my hand. So I want the salt and the baking soda and the 2 flours to be evenly distributed. And I think we look good here. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cold butter. This happens to be salted butter. And I'm going to cut the butter into the flour with my fingers. So this is sort of an unusual Irish soda bread recipe. It's kind of like making a pie crust, but apparently cutting the butter in this way helps to give the bread a rather shaggy look. And now I need to make a well in the center, add the buttermilk mixture, and then use my hand to create a soft, fairly sticky dough per the recipe. So this is a quick bread. There's no actual kneading of the dough. Okay. Now I have my baking tray lined with parchment here, and I need to flour it. Add the dough. Okay, now we need to form this into, how large? 8-inch round. And let's see if this is 8 inches here. My friends, we are at 8 inches round. Now for this next step, I do need to wash my hands. Hands are clean. For the next step, we want to make a cross in this loaf. And the cross is to resemble the Trinity. The Trinity. And then we're to use the same knife to make a little hole which supposedly releases the fairies from the bread. The fairies that could otherwise destroy your bread or something like that. No, I think it was curse the bread. And we don't want fairies cursing our bread. And now that our Holy Cross is here and our fairies have been released, we can pat the bread or the dough with the little remains of the buttermilk. And then, just for a decorative flourish, I'm going to add some old-fashioned oats to the top. I need a spoon for this. And this goes into a preheated 425-degree oven for 15 minutes, and then I will lower the oven temperature to 400 degrees and continue baking for 30 minutes or until the bread is done. Well, the bread has almost finished baking, but I'm going to go ahead and prepare the corned beef. So this is the corned beef that you and I bought together at Guido's in Great Barrington in the previous episode. And I have some garlic pucks here. I need to put my corned beef on a rack. So I decided I would pressure cook this corned beef in the Instant Pot. Then I need 2 cups of water, 1 whole honking 12-ounce can, actually this is 14 ounces, of Guinness. Oops. And 2 of my garlic pucks. Lid. And the recipe I'm following is from All Recipes. We are to cook this at high pressure for 90 minutes. I'm going to set my Instant Pot over here. This corned beef cooked to tender perfection in the Instant Pot. As you will see later, I served it alongside roasted carrots and some of the cooking liquid. Now the Instant Pot will beep. There it goes. Going to clean this up, and then I think our bread is ready. Now my brisket, which again came from Guido's in Great Barrington, did not have one of those spice packets with it, but I think it's already cured with spices, so it should be fine. Oh wow, it really puffed up. This looks beautiful. It's very puffy and craggy. Now to test if it is done, we are supposed to tap it. And if it sounds hollow, even on the underside, it's done. Now I'm going to let this cool on a rack. Let's see if I can slide this off here. And while we wait for the corned beef and for the bread to cool, we can make a quick trip to the flower shop. I want to buy some spring type flowers, maybe some yellows and blues and purples and whites that we can use for a table arrangement. We are home again. Here are the flowers I bought. And I just tuck them into this bucket of water. And the first thing I want to do is hide the mechanics of this tureen. I don't remember the name of this filler, but I want to arrange it so that it covers the rim of the tureen. Blue hydrangeas are ginormous. What do you all think? This looks pretty cool. I have to really think on this. Maybe I should just do a second arrangement with the remaining flowers. I really love how this looks. So I think we are going to call this arrangement done, believe it or not. And I'm going to save the remaining flowers to use them for the Julia Child themed dinner party that I'm doing later this week. Yeah, I love this. I'm going to set this over here for now, clean up a bit. And then we still have to make, well, we have to deal with the corned beef brisket, and we need to make the colcannon. And the corned beef brisket is done. The flowers are on the table. Just need to do a natural pressure release. Actually, not a natural pressure release, a rapid pressure release. This looks beautiful. Now, I know that corned beef is not traditionally served for St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. I think in Ireland people have beef stew. Well, you can let me know if you live in Ireland what you eat for St. Patrick's Day. I think it's a beef stew. But here in America, corned beef became traditional for St. Patrick's Day. I want to spread this garlic over top. And then I want to tent this while the juices recede. And I'm going to keep this corned beef warm in a very low oven until it's serving time. If you are wondering why I did not add cabbage to the corned beef, it's because there is cabbage in the colcannon, which I need to make right now. And I want to show you this gadget. I have never used it. I haven't even opened the box, but my friend Sean at Thanksgiving sent me a video where he was using this to peel potatoes. So it's called the Rotato. If it's easy to set up, I will use it. Otherwise, I will just peel the potatoes by hand. So it appears you press the potato against these little prongs over here. Then you insert the top prong and then go to town. Well, it peeled much, although certainly not all of this potato. I probably need to read the directions to find out if I need to adjust this to peel the whole potato. After I adjusted the peeling arm on the Rotato, the gadget worked a charm. Sorry, you're out of a job. And I'm going to cut these potatoes into cubes and then drop them into my pot of cold water over here. I can link this Rotato in the description box below if you are interested in adding yet another gadget to your kitchen arsenal. And I need to bring this to a boil. So as I mentioned earlier, colcannon is mashed potatoes with greens, and my greens are kale, cabbage, and scallion. Going to save some of this scallion for garnish. And you, my friend, can go into the refrigerator. I need to saute all of these grains in butter. So my potatoes are perfectly tender. I've drained them, and now I'm returning them to the same pot. And then before I mash these, I want to warm a little cream and butter together. There's a lot of butter in this dinner. I can warm this in the microwave and mash away. Add the cream and butter. And now I can fold in my vegetables, my green vegetables. And I tasted these all on their own. They are fantastic. Almost like Chinese food. This is so incredibly beautiful. And now I need my serving dish, which is right here. Now, there are only 4 of us for dinner tonight, and I think this is enough for 4 people. To make a little well in the middle, to which we can add yet more butter. And I want to garnish the top with some of the scallion that we reserved. And then I can keep this in a warm oven along with the corned beef brisket until we're ready to serve. And in the meantime, we can go set the table. Since I didn't want to mess up my colcannon presentation, and I do want to taste this, I'll just take some from the pot. For something so simple, this is, well, it's banging delicious. After I set the table, I realized that it could use a tan and white table runner. Time for a redo. I did not film this, but at the last minute I decided to add roasted carrots to the menu. I served the carrots, sliced corned beef, and some of the cooking broth on a round wooden platter. My guests and I loved every component of this dinner. I think you will too. Well, this was a fun and easy and definitely memorable early St. Patrick's Day dinner. Everything was beyond delicious, and I will post the recipes in the description box below. My guests have departed, and my only job now is to load up the dishwasher. So thank you for being here, thank you for being you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Happy St. Patrick's Day, friends.